For most of human history, washing up meant time, effort, and mild arguments.
Why can't something be done to modernize this monotonous everyday task?
Then came the dishwasher, a marvel of modern convenience. The first was patented in 1850, but it wasn't until the 1970s that dishwashers really made it into everyday homes. Today, they're in over half of UK households. But while they were meant to make life easier, they've become a source of low-key domestic tension. From how to load one, to how to clean it, to whether or not you should rinse your plates first. At which, we want to dispel the myths, answer your questions, and help you get cleaner dishes with less effort. This is Which 101. So today, we're going to be learning how to get the most out of your dishwasher. And to help us is an expert who's tested more dishwashers than most of us have loaded.
Hello. Come on in.
So Andy, you are a dishwasher connoisseur. How does one become a dishwasher expert and what does that entail?
I work in the Which product testing department. I'm a principal researcher. We have many different testing projects, of which dishwashers is one, which I run. We test typically around about 65 machines a year, so we really see the good, the bad and the ugly. And that allows you to sort of see what makes a good machine, but also what makes a bad one.
So today you're going to be talking us through, how to load your dishwasher, how it actually works, the do's and don'ts, and troubleshoot some common problems. So let's get started. A real question of contention. How do you load the dishwasher correctly to get the cleanest dishes?
So don't overfill the dishwasher and think about where all the water's going to go. The water is going to spin around from the inside and spray outwards. That means we've got to get everything that needs to be cleaned pointing dirty side in. So that will be plates with the dirty face into the center of the machine, and any bowls need to be facing down. Not only to get clean, but also there's no point open the dishwasher and finding a big pool of water. So make sure everything's facing the inside of the machine. That's really important. Don't overfill it. And also when you're thinking about where you're positioning things, think about two things. First of all, make sure they're comfortably supported. You don't want them rattling around in the machine. Use the supports in the machine. Let's have a look at here. We're going to pull this one on the back here. That's for stacking wine glasses.
Nice.
So they can stack backwards and face down. So use all the bits and pieces in the dishwasher, get to know them. And make sure you also think about where the spray jet intensity is most. So if you've got really dirty items, try and stick them in the middle because the edges of the basket are going to get sort of the least intensity. With cutlery, the key thing that people often do wrong is overload the basket, but also stack things so that they nest. So you imagine you've got two knives, dirty, peanut butter on both, stuck together like this. There's no way they're going to get cleaned on the inside. So you need to spread them all out and make sure they're not clustering in any area. And with sharp items, make sure they're poking down because you don't want to cut yourself when you're stacking the basket.
Absolutely not. I also noticed when you opened it, there's a lot of funky buttons going on here.
There is.
Do they do different things? Talk me through them.
Yeah, so a dishwasher can typically have between 5 and 10 programs, but typically most machines will have 3. An eco-wash, which is an environmentally friendly wash, a main sort of program, which is sort of your everyday washing program, and a fast wash. The other items will depend on the brand and the model that you choose. So get to know your machine, get to know how to use it as best as possible, but also, as we'll come to later on, make sure you're looking after the machine itself.
So is there a best detergent that we should be using to get cleaner dishes?
Yeah, also really important is think about what you're putting in the machine to clean it. You're gonna go for a tablet, but not all tablets are equal. Some are way better than others, but we always say to people, use a good detergent because what you put in the machine does really matter.
And the pod has to go in the little box here, doesn't it?
Well, now, this is slightly controversial. Typically, yes. I mean, what the pod tends to do is the manufacturer's geared it so it will release the tablet at just the right time. So it will run a pre-wash, that's how the machine works. It just sort of washes the dishes initially, rinses off things, and then it will release the tablet at just that optimum time. The wrinkle with that, and some people will know this all too well, is detergent dispensers are little bit flimsy at times. I think based on our research, around 6% of dishwasher faults are due to the dispenser. Either you find it's half in, half out, it's not opened at all, or this thing just breaks, you know.
I've had that happen to me.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. So you can chuck the tablet into the machine itself. I know this is controversial. Some people will be saying heresy, but you can do it. Modern tablets can survive a rinse cycle, and they are designed to release over a period of time. You know, so if you're finding that the tablet dispenser is just constantly getting jammed, constantly not opening properly, then don't just soldier on.
Just chuck it in.
Chuck it in, and you will be fine. It will still clean.
So you've mentioned Rinse Aid.
Yeah.
Don't get annoyed at me. Don't know what it is. Can you explain it? What does it do? How do we use it?
And what Rinse Aid does effectively is it helps with the drying process. The Rinse Aid just makes the water more wet. It makes it coat the items more thinly, and then by extension, it allows the machine to dry it much more easily.
So let's play a little game of what we can and what we can't put in a dishwasher. And let's start with these, some vacuum attachments. Can they go in?
Potentially. It really depends on what kind of attachment it is. You're really looking for anything with sort of solid plastic bits. So if you pick that one up just there, you can see this one's kind of got no real moving parts. It's got no brushes. It's just a piece of plastic basically. So that potentially can go in. The ones you've got here, they've got brushes on. They've got slightly more fussy attachments and elements. You maybe need to be a little bit more careful with those, probably wash them by hand, and also do consult the manufacturer's instructions as well, just so you don't ruin something by accident.
Let's go back to the kitchen, and we've got these vacuum flasks and cups, really good for carrying hot drinks, cold drinks. Can we keep them clean in the dishwasher, or do we just do it by hand?
Yeah, unfortunately not. These are sort of vacuum flasks, really great for keeping your coffee warm or something like that. But actually the dishwasher really messes with the vacuum action. And also these are typically made of sort of brushed metal, and it can get quite badly bashed up in a dishwasher, can get dings and scrapes.
Thinking for like freezer, what about the silicone objects over there? I mean, they might be used for like ice lollies or whatever, ice cubes. They'll need a clean every now and then. Can we just chuck them in the dishwasher, or is that a big no?
Potentially again, but you've got to be really looking for a dishwasher safe logo. These can usually be an embossed logo. You're just looking for something that says these are okay to go in. It typically is okay because these things are usually used for baking, so they're used to high temperature environments. But you just need to check just 100% before you do. Vacuum flasks, non-stick pans, cast iron pans, wooden chopping boards, anything with little fussy attachments, never put it in the dishwasher. For everything else that you're not too sure about, check for a dishwasher safe, maybe do a bit of research, but if you're in any sense of doubt, just wash it in the sink instead.
I was thinking we could do some myth busting here today.
Sure.
Is it true that I should be rinsing the plates before I put them in the dishwasher?
Absolutely not. Now, this is a common thing and quite a controversial thing. Some people believe that if you put in a sort of dirty dishes, you're going to actually clog the filter and clog up the machine. There's absolutely no reason why that should happen. Now, you should scrape off any big food into the bin or the compost just to kind of get it off the plates, but certainly should not be even sort of partial washing them before you get in. You're wasting water and energy washing them in the sink. You've bought an appliance that you're not really using, but also the third thing that's most important is dishwashers run what's called auto cycles, and they're trying to learn what your typical dishes load would be like, you know, so what kind of you typically put into it, so they can do that process much more efficiently. If you're effectively cleaning the dishes before they get in there, you're giving them basically no data to go with. So you're making your auto program more stupid than it needs to be. So don't rinse them. Scrape off the food, put them straight in, and let the machine do its blooming job.
If I'm using a longer cycle, that's going to be using up more water, right?
No, I'm afraid that's incorrect. Now, people think that, don't they? If you're putting on an eco cycle that's maybe 5 hours, it's going to use more water, but actually that's not true. And you can think of it a bit like, if you compare it, say, to a quick wash, driving your car economically to driving it really fast. So you're not driving that car efficiently. So actually you might end up using more fuel, even though you're in a shorter distance. It's the same with an eco wash. It will use actually less water because it's using it very gradually and efficiently over a longer period of time. So you can find in an economical machine that actually it could use maybe 3 to 4 litres less than the main wash, and even more than the quick wash, just because it's doing it more efficiently.
Clean dishes, clean glasses are only half the story. How do we keep our dishwashers running for years and years? Like, how do we give it TLC?
Well, the first thing that's in everybody's power is to make sure your dishwasher's topped up on salt. Often a thing that people forget or just avoid, but it's really, really important.
It's not just any salt, is it?
Absolutely not, no. And the reason why we need dedicated dishwasher salt in the machine is because majority of people in the UK, apart from a few areas, are going to be dealing with hard water. And dishwashers really don't like hard water. And what that can mean is build up a lime scale in the machine, but also it can actually affect how it cleans. Even if you have got a new machine or you've got an existing machine, it's worth checking that you've got it set up for the right salt level for your area. And you can do that by going to the water company website for your local area, and then looking at machine's instructions to make sure it's set up.
So something that's happened to me a fair few times is that I've opened my dishwasher and there's been a bit of a puddle at the bottom of it. What does that mean? What am I doing wrong? Help.
Yeah, definitely. So you sort of got a pool of sort of stagnant, slightly smelly water in there. You know, sometimes it can get quite high.
That's the one.
The first thing to do is check the filter. The filter probably needs cleaning and maintenance. Typically we say every 20 washes, 20 runs. You can do a little bit more. And that means taking the whole filter unit out, giving it a good clean, cleaning all the dirty food out of it, the residue. It can often get kind of a bit of a film on it, you know, like a greasy film, so you don't want to have that. And that should hopefully prevent some blockages there. But if you're still having problems, the next thing to potentially look at is the pipes. See if the hose has become kinked, so the water's not draining there. See if there's anything wrong with the plumbing underneath the sink. You may need to flush it, you know, the system out, which, you know, may mean getting a technician in to look at that. So check those things that you can see, try and clear blockages down there, clean the filters. If it still is the case there, you may have a deeper problem.
You might be in trouble.
You might be in trouble. and you know, just bear in mind how far your knowledge goes in terms of a DIY fix, because sometimes DIY fixes can cause into quite lengthy problems.
So it's a dishwasher, it cleans everything else, but do we need to clean it, or does it take care of its own cleanliness?
No, unfortunately it does not, and you do need to clean it. So there's various different things that you should do on a regular basis. So we typically say once a month, every 20 washes.
Oh, that's quite often.
Yeah, it is. It's more often than people think.
Yeah.
Some people say, oh, I haven't done it ever. So for example, first job, what people often think about is these. This is a spray arm.
Okay.
So these will obviously spin in the machine and then distribute the water. But these little holes along here, you can see various ones, they're firing out the water, but they can so easily get blocked. You get a little bit of a match stick or something like that, or toothpick, make sure those are cleaned out, pour some water inside, just make sure all of those are clean. The other thing that people often forget is the door seals. So around the doors, making sure that they're nice and clean. And just generally giving a bit of a wipe down in the machine. These rails can often have like food stuck in them and dropped in them.
Yeah.
They're quite hard to clean, but it is worth doing every now and then. Some machines have a self-clean function, often called like machine care or something along those lines. And what that'll do is it allows you to effectively run it every now and then to just sort of clean out the machine. The final point on that, I would say, is buying a reliable brand to start with. Based on our research, some of the less reliable brands, 1 in 3 can go within 7 years. So that's almost half of the typical lifetime. Yeah. Whereas in a good brand, it can be less than 1 in 10. So picking that good brand to start with, and it doesn't always have to be the most expensive either. It can be actually some affordable brands are good for reliability too.
So thanks so much for having us round today. Obviously learnt a lot. So before we go, what are the top 3 takeaways that you want us to learn?
Well, first of all, load correctly. Don't overload the machine, put things in the right places, make sure everything can get the water and the detergent on it, and you should be okay on that score. Secondly, you've got to think about you making sure to use the right programs for the right job. So now don't just default to the same option every single time. Think about what the machine can do and think about how you can use it as best possible. And the third thing, this is the one that's going to annoy people, you got to maintain the machine. You got to look after it. That means cleaning the filter, cleaning the spray arms, giving the wipe downs inside the machine, running a self-care machine if possible. But finally, don't forget to top up on your salt and your rinse aid, really important. If you do all that, then you should be okay.
We've come a long way since dishwashers were invented, and it turned out we still had a lot to learn. This has been Which 101, practical advice powered by testing. And if you found this helpful, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and check out our next episode.